This NBA play-in and playoff picks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits.
What's up? It's the most must-see WWE superstar of all time, The Miz, and you are watching SGPN, and it is awesome. Let it ride.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Sean, a tradition like none other.
Yeah.
Me dusting off my Knicks t-shirt jersey to celebrate NBA season. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony, fellow podcaster. Now, when I bought this shirt, he was still a baller.
Yeah.
Now, although have you checked out the Melo podcast?
No, I've not. Is it good?
I would say this.
No.
Surprising. He's actually pretty solid on the mic.
There's a bunch.
Obviously, there's a lot of production going on around him, but
there's a bunch of obviously former athletes podcasts. I don't think of the stuff I listen to. I don't know. I don't listen to any of them. Do you listen to any of the former athlete stuff?
Honestly, it's we live in the world where so many of these shows are built for the clip.
Yeah. That
I end up.
I'm with you. I catch some of their stuff. I think
I give them all a shot though. Like I'm a big in context, so I do try to listen to the full interview, but sometimes it's just not good.
Yeah.
I would say Gilbert Arenas' show. Good example. Hard to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, he's got some.
You're not
stuff.
listening to the album, but he's got some banger singles. You know what I mean?
Well, I speaking of clips, there was our buddies over at Greenlight had a teammate of Lou Williams, and he was telling the story about Lou Williams. He was such a noted stick man off the court, and he had 2 girlfriends, and he'd bring them to the games,
really?
And they were cool, and they were friends with each other.
Does everyone know what a stick man is?
I think
he's one of those guys who will get penetration.
I think a guy who gets a lot of action off the court. And
so a literal stick man.
Yeah, Lou Williams,
not a craps table operator.
No. Lou Williams responded to the clip by going, hey, appreciate the shout out, but next time, make sure you get the photo right. The one on the right is my sister. So he had the photo they used for the description of him having 2 girlfriends, I guess one was his sister. So
that's interesting. That's because you get that in the wrong hands, and all of a sudden you're committing different kind of crime.
But Lou Williams was super funny. Yeah, we got a good show coming up here. We got joining us in just a second, Terrell Furman, Scott Reichel from the NBA Gambling Podcast and WNBA Gambling Podcast. We're going to talk a little play-in games, some early series prices. Then we're going to talk. Do a show, I think Friday early as well. Once all the playoff matchups are set.
Yes.
So we got a lot on the slate. But before we do, I stumbled across this legendary clip or a tweet, and of course a reminder of real men of Degens. Thought we should give him a nice shout out here.
SGPN presents. Real men of Degens.
Real men of Degens.
We salute you.
Mike Leach, according to a subreddit post over in the NFL subreddit I stumbled upon today, Mike Leach was talked down from lining up a little person in the backfield and then throwing them over the line of scrimmage in short yardage situations. Other than the optics of doing this, why wouldn't this be allowed? And logistically, shouldn't it work? I responded by saying, if they ban the brotherly shove, maybe this is a nice little workaround. Reminds me of Ralph from The Simpsons, where they throw him through the window.
I don't have an argument there.
No, someone was the comments in the thread were pretty funny. It was like, well, what's a little person's ball control? Like, are you worried about him fumbling?
Well, they just have to land, right? They're effectively going to get touched and be down. So, I would say that's not that scary.
No, I think it would.
And I like his attempt to circumvent the rules.
It seems like a fun workaround at the very least.
Do we want to? Since you brought up Mike Leach, you made me think of something, because when I saw this post, I immediately said I want to go to the post and read some of the comments, and I get sidetracked on the way there with another Mike Leach classic. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, here we go. Let me share my screen though. Where are we? Here we go. I have to get rid of yours. All right, here we go. If you've never seen this,
Mike Leach just super pissed. When Mike Leach was upset, that was some of his best stuff.
All right, here we go. This is just sit down and relax. Pull your car over.
As coaches, we failed to get through to them. As coaches, we failed to make our coaching points and our points more compelling than their fat little girlfriends. Now, their fat little girlfriends have some obvious advantages. For one thing, their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are and how easy it's going to be, and how we had a whole bunch of people. Everybody wanted to win the football game, but nobody wanted to play the football game. Well, that defies every level of work ethic that exists with regard to football. And as coaches, we have to solve our failure on.
I think he might go back to the fat little girlfriend one more time, but if you've never heard Coach Leach say "fat little girlfriend," very excellent.
Fun ride with Mike Leach, and of course, also we just recorded a bonus episode for the Patreon SGP Stories. We rewatched my appearance on the Dr. Phil show with CJ. If you recall, we did a rewatch with Colby. That episode got lost, so we redid it with CJ. There was a lot of fun stuff I think we missed. Even if you watch the first rewatch, the second rewatch is very good. Obviously having CJ in there as well, getting another POV. And I feel like there was stuff I missed the first time in the rewatch that was pretty awesome.
I did not remember Dr. Phil's clear. Like Dr. Phil's body language didn't exactly line up with his words. You know what I mean?
sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Check that out. All right. Enough messing around. Let's bring them on. Joining us on the line from the NBA Gambling Podcast and the WNBA Gambling Podcast, Scott Reichel and Terrell Furman. Thank you, gentlemen, for hopping on. Terrell, good to see you. Been a little bit. What's happening? I know we were talking a little WNBA draft. Any shockers from the WNBA draft?
Well, first, I have to say it before we move on. Why would you not just catch the little person? Like Frankie Louvu is jumping over the line, catching the little person and taking him and the ball all the way back to the end zone. Like,
well, that would be a great
the little person.
Yeah, that would be a great point. If you jumped and caught the little person before he broke the plane and returned it all the way, who has possession? There are a lot of questions.
Well, forward progress. If you're never on the ground, can you just be carried all the way back to the other end zone?
That is a great question. There's the Mike Pereira would lose his mind trying.
Because if you never put your feet down, you didn't establish possession. Like unless you're crossing the goal line. So like for a touchdown, it wouldn't matter because you can just fly over the.
It doesn't matter. We could just drop the little person off before we get there. Like, hey, get out of here.
I mean.
Anymore.
It would be.
You could really marry this with so there's a play in rugby called a maul where essentially it's like a constantly twirling group of people like peeling off. You could do something here with a maul plus a little person. Think about the centrifugal force you could generate.
I like it. Shout out to Joe in the chat saying you guys are working Reichel to death.
Oh no.
Yes. Also besides NBA, WNBA, the Tennis Gambling Podcast and the MLB Podcast, he's a handicapping machine. Scott Reichel, what's happening, Scott?
They're doing pretty well. Of course, I'm able to deal with the workload by taking naps, so I feel pretty good. I'm refreshed, ready to roll for the NBA play-in and playoffs. Should be fun. I was trying to think of a nickname for the Mike Leach suggestion, but I couldn't come up with anything because the Mike spike doesn't work because you don't spike anything. You're tossing the guys, so I don't really know. But I was trying to work something on it. I'll workshop it, so I'll get back to you on that.
I like that. That's a good That's a good project for our listeners. Hit us up at Gambling Podcast. Come up with a name. Obviously, the Eagles have the brotherly shove, the tush push. What would Mike Leach's play be called? We'll hook you up with the gift card. Best name at Gambling Podcast.
And would it be the name that Coach Leach would have given it? Because he's a sophisticated man.
He is.
You're gonna have to look deep in. I would explore maybe looking deep into animals or history.
Yes, he is and honestly, that Geronimo book he co-wrote with a Native American history person was it's an awesome read. I really learned a lot about Geronimo.
It's right next to the Spring King in the bookshelf back there, amongst all the greats.
And Swing Your Sword. All right, so we got some really good, I think, play-in games. Of course, unfortunately for Warriors, they're in the play-in game because they lost that OT thriller against the Clippers. This is fun too. Don't even have to mention the Sixers because their season was a complete unmitigated disaster. Scott, you were tweeting out that stat that Paul Pierce had more podcast clips put out than games played. What was
just Paul George? But yeah,
Paul George. Sorry,
I believe there were more clips than made baskets or something.
Yeah, it was not
it was something insane. But
now the Sixers
clip game's really good.
Yeah, shout out to his clip team. The Sixers have a 10% chance of getting Cooper Flag, which would just be completely insane.
Can Philly handle so many white heroes at the same time?
Well, Cooper DeJean and Cooper Flag in the same city might be kind of would be overload there. Terrell, any surprises going in the playoffs? Maybe teams that snuck up on people. Let's say you're like Ryan, you're just hopping into the NBA season right now. What are some storylines, some surprise teams you may have missed?
I mean, the Clippers. The Clippers are one of the teams. They ship Paul George out of there. They start rebuilding the culture there. Ty Lue gets everybody to buy in, and a team that I think a lot of people that I saw really didn't have them projected to get this far and look as good as they did. Look really, really good. And if you told me that they were in the Western Conference Finals with a chance to go to the NBA Finals, I wouldn't be surprised. So I think Kawhi and how good he's been after a catastrophic injury, coming back and being able to look like Kawhi Leonard again. Yeah, I think that the Clippers probably are that team for me.
And I
think Clippers.
I think it was our buddy JVT, who is a Clippers fan. It's funny, people talk about the Clippers, and I think I pointed it out in the same way that people talk about a no-hitter. Like they're scared to talk about this Clippers team because they're gonna jinx it because of all the health issues this Clippers team has had. Of course, they got
That'll be fine.
They got that great trade from the Nets to acquire Ben Simmons, who still doesn't want to attempt a layup. I don't know if you guys saw the highlight where he had a wide open layup and did this crazy move to bounce past it and avoid it. Scott, are you taking anything? I feel like I go through this every time once the NBA playoffs start, where I talk myself into these long shot narratives. Hey, maybe the Heat do get hot. Maybe they try and maybe they're in the mix for winning the East. Maybe the Clippers are going to win the Western Conference. Are there any early long shots you find intriguing?
Well, just to go into a bit more detail, you tried to pitch me on VEASAN, the Heat, for another run, and I immediately shut you down on VEASAN in about 2 seconds. So
yeah,
I do think that the Clippers have a decent chance of making a deep run. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to Kawhi's health. Obviously, we expect Harden to at some point maybe revert back into his old playoff self. They're really, really good right now. I got nothing else to really add. If this team stays healthy, with Norman Powell, with Harden, with Kawhi, with Zubac might not make a third team All-NBA, but he's in the running. Guy's really, really good. So I do think the Clippers have something brewing. Even Chris Dunn defensively can give other point guards problems. I like their overall roster. They would be one of the long shots I'd consider. But when it comes to any of the play-in teams, I would shut down all of them. Golden State you can make an argument for, but honestly, I just don't think they have enough scoring depth. And I thought that the crazier thing about the final game with the Clippers that they ended up losing, Kuminga played 0 minutes. They just decided to not use Kuminga for a single second on the court. And they let Gary Payton II kind of go out there. I know Gary Payton II gives you some energy. He can play some defense. He can't shoot. He has no offensive talents. You throw him out there with Draymond and with Butler, your spacing's kind of destroyed. And Kuminga, I know him and Kerr haven't exactly seen eye to eye over the years, but they didn't use him at all. So unless Curry and Butler, who combined for 66 points and still lost to the Clippers, and Podziemski go crazy, I don't think they have enough depth. So I think they might be, once again, a little bit of fool's gold there. But it does kind of segue into a team that is a long shot with a pretty good seeding, actually. The Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
I don't actually mind the Rockets as much. Now, I understand that this team has questions in the half court with Jalen Green and with Şengün being the main two guys offensively. You have to worry about whatever the hell Dylan Brooks and Van Vliet are doing half the time. But I do think defensively this team is very good, and I do think they have kind of found something with Steven Adams, of all people. That they've kind of thrown him in there with Şengün in a couple lineups. They've been dominant on the boards. They beat the Thunder and the Warriors in back-to-back games. They held Curry to 3 points in that game. That could be a second-round matchup, potentially. I should say a first-round matchup, actually. And we just saw them beat the Warriors about a couple weeks ago. Houston, I think they're definitely interesting. Would I pick them to win against the Lakers or against the Thunder in a series? Probably not. But in terms of the actual long-shot price, they have home court in 2 series guaranteed, and they've looked really good over the last couple of weeks. I think their price just feels off to me.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, the Rockets are 25 to win the West, and it does feel like the number 2 seed is getting incredibly disrespected because of the lack of the like quote unquote big name stars. But if you were watching the regular season, and I think Ime is a pretty good coach. I mean, 25 to 1. Let's say they just
he's really good coach. They tried to keep him until that story came out.
No, and they even try like, hey, it's just going to be a year off. They really wanted to bend over backwards.
Stevens, he's like a goody two shoe.
Yeah, they wanted to keep him.
We got to keep this guy. He's a good coach.
So the Rockets getting to the Western Conference, and if you were sitting on them to win at 25 to 1 against the Thunder, you would feel pretty good about yourself there in that situation. Terrell, are you intrigued at all by the Thunder here?
Yeah, I think the Thunder actually have a really good chance here to finally do it and make that big run and let us see SGA be able to cook on a grand stage here. I think that they made a really, really good move bringing in Isaiah Hartenstein to give them some desperately needed size that they need. That lineup with him and Chet Holmgren is really, really nasty. And they found a way to turn all of those really good pieces that they have, the Wiggins, the Caruso, the Isaiah Joe, like all those other pieces that they've had have played really, really good minutes for them. And they've been running teams out of the gym. Now, I think that they could have some matchup problems, and I would be interested to see what they look like later on in the series. But I think they have all the talent in the world to be able to get there, and they have a guy that can go out there and lock down your best scorer in Lou Dort. So, yeah, I think the Thunder are going to have something to say here.
Yeah, no, Thunder Rockets kind of would be fun because the Rockets have had their number a couple times in the regular season. And again, if you have that 25 to 1, that would be pretty fun. In the East, I don't know. We'll talk about it more when we break down the series conference, some of the series stuff. But it just feels like it's going to be Celtics Cavs. I mean, Scott, can you make a case for a third team in the East? Maybe the Pacers. What's it just feels like it's gonna default to Celtics Cavs for the Eastern.
Yeah, I got really nothing else to add. I think the only point the Boston, I'd say, haters have to lean on right now is the knee injury to Jaylen Brown, who's been getting injections in his knee recently. So there is a chance he might end up missing some games in the playoffs. We'll see. He did not reach the 65 game criteria. I'm not sure if he would have gotten an award anyway or gotten an All-NBA team, but the point is usually you're expecting a lot of the main guys, like Scotty Barnes, for example, was playing a bunch of meaningless games down the stretch to get to 65. Just to have the possibility of having his name called in any of these, whether it involves for like contract incentives, etc. So Jaylen Brown was at like 63 with like a week to go. And people thought, oh, he's probably just going to play 2 random games, get to 65. He didn't even do that. So I actually think this is a pretty serious injury. He's getting injections almost every single day at this point. So the one thing you can maybe make a point against Boston would be, can this team get by if Jaylen Brown, I mean, is well below 100%, or if he misses some games? I think the answer is yes anyway. No offense to Kramer, I'm not sold on the Knicks, and I do think that the other team, the Eastern Conference, I don't view being in the same tier. Well, I'd say no offense to Sean, but his team didn't make it, so I can't really say that either.
How dare you?
I do think at the end of the day, the other teams in the East just haven't wowed me. It feels like a 2-horse race, in my opinion, to actually make it to the NBA Finals. But if you wanted to make, I'd say, a claim that one team could maybe find a way through, honestly, I really have a hard time picking one. I feel like it's just going to be Cavs Celtics again. But
yeah,
the Jaylen Brown injury does make it somewhat interesting if you do think the Celtics are going to struggle without the defending Finals MVP playing every game. I think they'll get by anyway. That's kind of where I'm looking. Cavs, Celtics, but the injury is definitely interesting and something worth monitoring.
Yeah, we've seen this before, right? The Knicks advance and then get their ass beat by the Celtics.
Yeah, the Knicks are big favorites against the Pistons in round one. Pistons might be a darling. It's going to be a little tough, but the price does feel a little high there for Pistons Knicks. And Scott, I trash talk you back. Sixers out tanked the Nets. Yep. You silly fools won 26 games. Sixers got it all the way down to 24. That is just trusting the process. Terrell, can you make a case for anyone in the East outside of Celtics, Cavs in the Eastern Conference? There any sort of sleepery teams? Pistons are a fun story, but I think maybe round one past the Knicks because the price is juicy. But where are you at? Any surprise teams in the East?
No way. I think at this point, the Cavs are the surprise team in the East because everybody's penciling Boston in for the NBA Finals and another championship. I don't know how they can do it when the best player in the Finals MVP is hurt as he is and walking around on one leg. And we've seen Jason Tatum kind of underperform at times in the playoffs. Like those games are going to add up. And the Cavs are really, really good defensively. They added the depth on this team to be able to guard 1 through 5 and switch everything. So I think that the Cavs are really, really going to have something to say because Kenny Atkinson, championship level coach that beat Boston before with the Golden State Warriors.
And staying in the chat, highlighting the all-time rivalry of Terrell versus the Celtics.
Worth noting.
And you know what? I went into that last series betting on the Celtics, hoping that I could reverse jinx them, and no, they still won. So you know what? they got it. They got their one. But now we get to reset the clock because it was 20 years. We get to reset the clock, baby.
Hey, I'm all for hating on the Celtics, but it does feel like Celtics, Cavs in the East, and hopefully Cavs pull it out. That would be fun to see them certainly over the Cavs. All right, we're going to talk some play-in games before we do. Of course, shout out to Edge Boost. Ever had your deposit blocked by your bank right before a big bet? Of course I had. Ever needed cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables but hit your ATM limit? I know what that's like. Many nights on the craps table. Shout out to our epic run with Terrell at that Detroit casino.
Oh man,
Edge Boost has your back. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you fast, reliable access to your funds, making it easier to move money when and where you need it without the delays that can come with traditional banks. For you high rollers, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals. This works 24/7 for instant deposits. Never wait for a wire to clear. Again, it gets better every time you deposit into a qualified gambling account. You can earn cashback rewards up to 0.5%. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance, and no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you're ready to go. Finally, Edge Boost has a suite of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. What are you waiting for? Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN, edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Sign up for Edge Boost today. We're also brought to you by MyBookie. MyBookie is your place to bet on all the sports, all the action, in-game wagering, bunch of good prices there for the NBA, the play-in games, the conference championships. You can get it all over at edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And of course, MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit, even easier withdrawals using that sweet cryptocurrency. Head over to mybookie.ag, use the promo code SGPN, get a deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. Mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Kramer, what's our first game?
I was based on the conversation you guys were just having. Do we like 4-1? Cavs Thunder final.
Ooh,
4-1.
I'm not sold on 4-1. I'm not sold on.
Not enough.
It feels like it's got to be bigger. So
you have two unproven commodities that both have to do their part and actually make it through. I don't think 4-1's high enough in my opinion.
Cavs Rockets is 50-1.
Oh, really?
The Rockets are not getting past Golden State, so I don't know why we're even having this conversation.
I just brought it up because I think the prices were good for a team getting home court for 2 series guaranteed. That's kind of why
I agree. Again, as the TMZ guy is coming in, it's like, well, how does this work? Are we really saying only 3 teams can win a championship here? I guess Lakers getting some honorary love.
Well, you have Luka, who was in the championship last year. I know it's easy to forget, but he did kind of have a nice run with that Mavs team.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So games are Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll start with the Tuesday games. Early one is the Hawks Magic. Magic laying 5. 216.5 is the total. Terrell.
So everything on paper says that we should just hammer Orlando here. Atlanta's been very, very bad. I've been fading them over the course of the entire season. And you look at their last 10 games, 4-6 straight up. They are the Atlanta Hawks. And then you have the Orlando Magic, who are 8-2 straight up in those last 10 games, 7-3 against the spread. They're the number 1 defense in that span. Atlanta is bottom of the league defensively. They haven't been able to guard anything ever, and that's not how this team operates. They want to run and gun and play fast and get up the court, and if you score 120 points, they don't care because they're going to put up 130. It's not a recipe that works in the playoffs. With that being said, Atlanta is kind of the play-in kings. They've been in the play-in for 3 straight years. They didn't win last year, but they were able to win the year before that, and they ran the gauntlet the year before that. So I'm just very, very afraid of fading Atlanta in the play-in. But gut says it's Orlando, and it's not even close.
Scott, what are you doing? Magic Hawks here, 5-point spread.
Well, first of all, quick shout out to everybody that took the Magic to win the division, who won the division with a 41-41 record. Congratulations.
They won with a losing record.
Yeah, they got it done
in a long time.
It was definitely one of the worst divisions I've seen in a while, but either way, nice job by Orlando to survive all the injuries they ended up having. Do want to point out, though, for the matchup, Orlando has been good against teams below 500. The Hawks do technically qualify in that area, as the Magic are 29-16 against teams below 500. They don't have a 500 and above, actually. Atlanta is 18-25. So they have been decent against bad teams, pretty bad against good teams. But I think Orlando's the better team. They've been a lot better at home than on the road recently. The problem that you run into for the Hawks is, can they match up with Franz and Paolo? And so far this season, they cannot, because both of them combined are averaging north of 60 points per game against this team. So the question is, if Trey does not have his shot falling based on his shooting numbers this season, it tends to not be the case, where he actually tends to shoot pretty poorly, but he ends up averaging a bunch of assists. So if the Magic are able to, I'd say, limit Trey to some degree, do I trust the other guys on the roster to get enough production done to actually beat this team? I don't think so, personally. I'm going to go with Orlando here. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a spot where you're going to see 2 contrasting styles go at it. Atlanta wants to play fast. They want to play with a pretty open play style, and Orlando wants to make it as ugly as possible. I think Orlando's more physical. I think that they are better coached, in my opinion. And I just think that Paolo and Franz are matchup problems, where I think the Magic can throw different looks onto Trey to make life difficult for him. And if you're daring Dyson Daniels, or I'm trying to think other guys like Niang maybe, to like beat you from the outside, like, okay, sure. But I think that there's a better path for Orlando here. I'll take the Magic. I think it might be close, but I'll go with the Magic by maybe 8 or so. I don't mind Magic 1-10 in this game.
I do remember last playoffs when the Magic finally got to play home games, and I understand this is not technically a playoff game, but when they got to play home games,
they are a completely different.
The environment was very lit, and they dominated. I think they went 3-0 at those home games. Yeah, we're gonna lay the points. Bet splits also, Sean, 50-50 on the bets, but 63% of the handle on the Magic.
Now, this is interesting. Orlando is good as a home favorite, 17-11 ATS, but Hawks, this is kind of their spot. 21-9-1 ATS as a dog between 3.5 and 9.5. I don't know. The thing that makes it interesting is I do like taking my buddy Noobs pointed this trend out to me of Trey Young. If he has 2 or more days of rest, that's when you take his over points wise. So they didn't play him they didn't play him on Sunday. He did play Friday, I think. Either way, he's got the 2+ days of rest. I think he's going to be chucking. So maybe look to play. I think a fun bet would be Trae Young over points with the Magic laying the 5 because I do think he gets his. But this Atlanta team hasn't been the same. They had a fun kind of run with Jalen Johnson. They really haven't been the same without Jalen Johnson. A little worried about the Magic ceiling with no Suggs here, who's obviously hurt them overall. I will take Orlando laying the 5 though. Kramer, you're locking in the chalk as well.
Very easy. The nightcap, Memphis Grizzlies, Golden State Warriors out on the left coast. Warriors laying 7, 229 is the total. Scott.
Yeah, the last time they played, Curry had 50+ points, and the Grizzlies had no chance to actually guard the guy. Game was close anyway, though, because the Warriors did not miss a free throw in the entire game, but they still wanted a massive run in the last couple of minutes to actually get the job done. People are penciling in Golden State to basically win this game in a blowout. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I think the game might be somewhat close because I do think the Grizzlies actually have some offensive talent that can give Golden State some issues, especially with their size on the interior. I'm picking Golden State to win. I don't think Memphis is going to win the game on the road. But do I think Terrell's looking at me like he's shocked I'm even giving the Grizzlies some respect at the moment? But
I am. I was not expecting this is where Scott was going to go. We didn't talk about this beforehand.
I'm not picking Golden State to completely blow them out. They might. But the fact is, Ja's healthy for once. They still have Bane. They still have Triple J. At least the main guys are healthy for once. You don't see it that often, chucking grenades into the crowd. Keeping.
Sorry, Scott.
Busy.
I was chucking a grenade.
It's all good.
I was dying laughing when it's just such like a little kid thing to do. Of you say I can't use toy guns? Oh, what about a toy grenade? Next thing you know, I'll be operating an imaginary drone.
No, he should continue to do it. He should get bigger and bigger with it every
bigger
single
weapon.
time.
I was saying
if I was him,
rocket launcher.
What? And I would aim it right at the bench. Oh, don't let me hit a 3 right in the front of the opponent's bench, and roll the grenade over to him. Boo! Like what? Absolutely.
Someone in the NFL got fined for a bow and arrow. It's like, come on, guys, what are we doing here? Sorry, Scott, to interrupt. We got sidetracked with the imaginary weapons arm race.
I was going to say it feels like a pretty large spread. I understand it because Memphis has been kind of a joke recently. The Warriors, though, did not really play that well down the stretch. Lost the Clippers in a must-win game. Played the Spurs, blew a double-digit lead in the must-win game as 17-point favorites, and Barnes hit the game winner. They really haven't looked the part recently. Houston killed them in that game. Curry had 3 points. I think at the end of the day, I am going to go with the Warriors, but I'd rather take the team total over. I'll dare Memphis to stop anybody. Memphis, if they want to keep the game close, they have to score. I mean, they can't guard anyone anyway. So give me Steph to have a solid game. Give me a solid offensive showing by them. That's how I'll approach it instead. I think if Golden State wins the game, they probably get to 120 anyway. So give me Golden State team total over. Let Ja and company potentially go crazy offensively. But I will dare that team to stop anybody because they've not stopped anybody for the last couple months. Give me the Warriors team total over in this game.
Ooh, okay. So he's not taking the spread. He's going Warriors team total.
I think it's
over.
closer than people think, but I think it'll be a high scoring game.
Okay.
Can I just read a quote from an article about Ja Morant?
Sure.
Despite off-court controversies, including a recent $75,000 fine from the NBA for inappropriate on-court gestures, Morant remains one of the league's most electrifying and marketable talents. And then it's basically a post about the top selling jerseys in the NBA. What number do you think Ja Morant is? Top 15. Is
that international or is that just in America?
3.
This is top selling based on sales from the second half of this season. So since he's ratcheted up the
I'll say
weapons
6.
activities.
6.
I'm gonna go 3.
6, 3.
Terrell?
3.
8.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Thought it'd be higher. Okay.
Right ahead of the of SGA and Joker.
Oh, really? Wow, that's
right behind Jalen Brunson, Wemby, and Anthony Edwards.
That's why I asked about international though, because Wemby I thought would be up there because of France. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. The French people love him.
Everyone's got to get a Wemby.
Number 1, Luka with the New Jersey. That makes sense. Number
Lakers
2,
fans.
Steph Curry.
Yeah, kids love Steph.
Still, that's crazy.
Oh, and they love him overseas too. So it's definitely Steph.
Terrell, what are you doing? Warriors, Grizzlies.
Oh, you saw his facial reaction. He's picking Golden State to kill.
Yeah, come on, dude. let's read off the playoff teams in the West that the Grizzlies have faced, and let's stop when we get to a time where they actually covered this line. Starting from the Mavericks, that doesn't really count because they're in the play-in and they haven't been good recently. Nuggets, they lost by 8. Timberwolves, they lost by 14. You have scrolling. That's it. Warriors, they lost by 9. Going into March, Thunder got blown out. Lakers wasn't even close. Clippers, 20-point loss. Trailblazers, they're not a playoff team. I just wanted to point out that they lost by over 20 points to the Trailblazers.
Yes.
16 points. It's been really, really bad. We are going all the way back into February. They have still not beaten a playoff team in the West in February. January 30th, when they had a 2-point win against the Houston Rockets, is the last time that they have beaten anybody in the playoffs in the West. Matter of fact, not even that. That is the last time they have covered the line of 7 against anybody as a playoff team in the West. Prove it to me. That's it. You got to prove it to me that you can keep yourself in this game. Because what I've seen in a lot of those games, especially with the Timberwolves game late down the stretch and the Denver Nuggets game that just recently happened, is that Memphis will give themselves a chance in the game. And then like the Timberwolves game, they'll give up a 52-point quarter and then the game's over and they're not covering the spread.
Yep.
No way. I'm off Memphis. Golden State laying 7. Lock it up.
I think one counterpoint, sorry, that I just want to mention, though. I do agree that the Grizzlies defensively are horrible, and the Timberwolves did score 52 in that quarter a couple games ago. I want to just point out how bad of a spot it actually is for Golden State. When you factor in the fact that they had such an important game at home, and you had to play all of your star guys extra minutes because one of the stakes, 2, the game went to overtime. So you had a bunch of guys playing a bunch of minutes. Draymond left early. He got injured. He came back, but he hurt his neck. Curry had 36 points with a messed up thumb. We'll see how that's going to progress. And Butler got injured at the end of the game. Now, he ended up staying in the game. He kind of hurt his knee for a little bit. But this is an older team that does not have really any rest at all. The Grizzlies punted the last game against Dallas. They won anyway because Dallas was a joke. But the point is, at least their star guys got some extra rest compared to Golden State. Golden State played a bunch of guys a bunch of minutes in that overtime game. They have one day off, and a lot of their main guys are banged up. I think, though, once again, they're going to be able to score a bunch of points, but that is, objectively speaking, a horrible scheduling spot, and I want to at least bring that up.
It's a good note there, Scott. I'm with Terrell. Give me Golden State laying the 7. I heard a great stat about the last time the Grizzlies covered against a playoff team in the West. You got to go all the way back to January 2nd. No, I'm with Terrell. Just like eye test, this Memphis team against good teams, it does not go well. That's partly why they fired their head coach. And then on the other side, the Warriors coming off a loss. Warriors are 20-11-2 ATS after a loss. Steph Curry and that team will be locked in. It will be a crazy environment. And I just don't think the Grizzlies have the horses to hang in this game. And I think there's a big coaching advantage. Scott, good call though on the
team total.
That might be the way to play it.
I love the money line.
I'll just go Golden State laying the 7. I do like Scott's team total over angle because it leaves it open to, Warriors getting out and Grizzlies hanging around. I don't see this Grizzlies team being able to hang around. There's going to be at least, and it might be that third quarter. You could have fun if you were I'm a degenerate. You could certainly play Memphis to win the first half and then Golden State to win the game, a double result, because as we know, Golden State, and when they are playing well, which they usually do off a loss, they dominate that third quarter, not quite to the same degree that they did previously, but it's usually a pretty good quarter with them. I agree with Scott's big picture points on the Warriors I struggle to see them being able to keep up like scoring wise for a 7-game series. I think that's where they're going to hit a wall, but in this game, Golden State laying the 7. Kramer, what are you doing?
I was looking for the double result. So real quick update on John Morant too. I found another list where they track player popularity by social media and overall like internet impressions. John Morant, number 6, over 1 billion impressions worldwide. Here's the crazy part. There's an asterisk in the report that states does not include impressions via news. So the article was kind of highlighting as part of what makes Ja Morant so popular is some of the things that get picked up for negative reasons, but he's still very popular. So
And
Adam
also,
Silver really.
Don't make me pull out the league wants to see the Warriors in the playoffs. Don't
Is this
make
what
me
you're
pull
doing
that
when
out.
we're breaking down the games?
So
Kramer's looking up random social media stats.
Memphis halftime, Golden State full game 5-1.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad play.
I
Kramer,
do want to point
doing?
out, by the way, so
Yeah.
it's a quick thing. I want to point out the irony, though, of the Ja Morant celebrations with the guns and with the grenades as a shooter, because he's actually a horrible shooter when you look at his basketball numbers this season. He's shooting 30.9% from three and a 45.
That's why we're celebrating. That's why
saying.
we're celebrating, because they never go in.
He's shooting 45.4% from the floor. I'm just saying he might shoot a lot, but it's got the accuracy of a stormtrooper. It's not really that good.
But that's why you use the grenades, Scott. You just got to get that's why it's
close.
You got to get close. Horseshoe and hand grenades. You just got to get close.
Yeah, he's got to get maybe some anti-personnel mines. He can like show himself planting in the ground.
I threw the grenade at a ref.
Oh my god!
I guess
or like handed it to him like, yeah, take that.
I mean, this the world. There's so many things about Ja Morant, the character, that are hilarious, right?
Yes.
Just the idea that someone that is so hard as fuck also carries toy guns. Like just starting right there. We're already in a Tarantino movie. So you got to lay the points, I guess. Scott probably doing something smart here, so maybe I should tail him, but I'll lay the points too.
I'm just wondering how Memphis is supposed to keep the game close if we think they're not going to stop Golden State. Like if Golden State's going to score 120 plus points, no matter what, then they're probably going to cover. But I think we'd agree if the Warriors scored less than 115, Memphis is in this game. So I'd rather take the team total instead and kind of just ignore Memphis's offense entirely.
Well, Crackhead Gambler in the YouTube comments agrees with Scott, highlighting the Warriors' injuries and that they're banged up, and that could certainly play a factor there.
God, well, I mean, and who knows? But I mean, but NBA is such a consistent product, so I'm sure nothing crazy will happen. Wednesday, early game out to Chicago, where the Heat and the Bulls. We need a play-in appearance chart. All these teams are just like hit after hit. It's just every year we got the Heat and the Bulls and some form of the same
teams.
Bulls laying a point. Somehow that's I'm guessing you wouldn't have thought that a couple months back that the Bulls would be laying a point in a not playoff game, but not regular season game. 219 is the total. Terrell. Yeah, neither team should advance in my estimation. So who's going to win this game?
Oh, what? We are so locked into the Bulls here. The Bulls have been playing pretty good basketball, and it's crazy because they traded just two of their best players and then turned into a way better team. And who would have thought? But somehow the Bulls and Josh Giddey have finally figured out this offense and how to put up a crazy amount of points. Are they going to stop anybody? Probably not. More than likely not. But they're going to be electric. I want to see Chicago make it into the playoffs. I want to see Chicago move on to the next round. We're very friendly to the Chicago Bulls here. And I don't need any reason not to trust Miami without Jimmy Butler in this situation. Honestly, this is going to be the moment where they really, really wish they had Jimmy Butler to be able to take off the pressure in the end of the game and in the fourth quarter. So yeah, Chicago's lost this twice to the Miami Heat in the play-in. They finally get their get back here. Chicago Bulls get it done.
Get their lick back. Scott, do you agree? What are you doing here?
Yeah, so I am going to agree. I think most people are going to take Miami blindly because it's Spoelstra and they're here every year and a bunch of other reasons. I really don't care, to be honest. I'm the Bulls are the better team. If you're asking me to break down these two teams just in terms of a one-game situation, the Bulls are also 3-0 in the head-to-head this season. They won every meeting by at least 5 points. Faced off actually about a week ago. Hero had that controversial three-pointer instead of taking a free layup, and the Bulls won the game at the end. I think the Bulls right now are just playing better basketball. I believe they're 15-5 in their last 20 games, so they've randomly just been on fire lately. Miami's entire game plan for this matchup should really come down to the rebounding because they kind of decided to go Twin Towers with the starting lineup. They have Bam and they have Ware. If they dominate the glass, they have a decent chance to win. However, if the Bulls are able to get enough rebounding from Vucevic and Giddey maybe has a triple-double, we'll see what happens there. Kobe White's been a monster over the last,
Yeah.
basically since the Levine trade. I just think the Bulls right now have more offensive firepower. Miami offensively really relies so heavily on Hero. We know Bam can vanish, but he also gets a lot of touches too. I don't really trust a lot of the supporting cast guys that Miami has. I know Jaquez had 40 points in that meaningless game at the end of the season, but the point is when it comes down to Miami, do I like how this team has been performing, and do I like the makeup of the roster? I really don't. I think Wiggins has been fine since being acquired. I don't think he's really done much, but I think the Bulls are playing better basketball. I think that right now they have a really solid amount of chemistry going for them, and I think that they've done a great job of keeping the season alive and actually thriving under some adversity. I'll go with the Bulls. I think that they are, in my opinion, the better team right now. They're 3-0 on the head-to-head, and I like them being at home. Home teams, I believe, have done very well in the play-in in the past couple of years, so I'll go back to the Bulls here. I think Miami might make it close. It'll be ugly because it's Miami being involved, but give me the Bulls to do enough late to get the job done.
I see where you guys are going, and the Bulls, you're right. They have been on a nice late season run
Just
here, but give me the Miami Heat. Well, Scott also was just, everyone's going to say Spoelstra and blah, and he was stealing all my talking points.
Well, you were phrasing it like, I understand I'm like, yeah, just get it over with.
I understand.
Burying the lead here, guys. This is what it's like dealing with us 24/7.
Hey, I get it. The Bulls they're a young, fun team. It's a great story, but you got Eric Spoelstra coming to town. You know how many playoff victories he has, and now play-in tournament victories. But the play-in tournament stats go into this weird vortex where it's not playoffs, it's not regular season, it's some weird play-in tournament world. But if you just talk playoff victories, Eric Spoelstra 109 wins, Billy Donovan 19. You know the last time Billy Donovan won a playoff game, you got to go back to 2018. And this Miami Heat team, I don't know what it was, but when Jimmy Butler came back to town to face off against the Heat, and they got up for that game and they beat the Warriors, they kind of got a fire lit under their ass. I think they get this done. I like their experience. I like the veteran presence, and I think the Bulls could be a very good team next year. I just don't see it this year.
That's very takey.
No, they're fit. They've had a great finish. Kobe White's super fun, hitting the threes, giddy, triple double. He's all over the place. I get the appeal, but give me the veteran experience of the Miami Heat here. Kramer, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I could either agree with you,
yes,
or I could agree with Scott and Terrell.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, whichever one will you
throwing
choose?
Me under the bus.
Well, I don't want to make this.
You guys. Hey, when he agrees with you, though, it comes with some heat if it doesn't work out.
No, that's not true at all. But this does feel like I'm going to have to lock it up now.
Oh, the Bulls.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Lay it with the Bulls.
Good luck.
Also,
Spoelstra, playoff ready. Khalil Ware.
Do they?
Jaime Jaquez, UCLA Bruin.
So they just keep the stats for these games separate.
Yeah, no. I don't know where
I don't
they
even
go.
think they keep them.
It's like the NBA Cup title game where like there's stats, but there's no record of it at all.
So that's the most hilarious NBA thing, and it's saying a lot because the NBA is a pretty hilarious league overall. So the two, so you have the play-in games, the cup games, the cup games, not play-in. That's separate tournament. The cup games, those stats count.
Yeah.
And then there's those bonus games; those stats count. But then the championship game of the cup, none of those stats count.
They really should just
they go nowhere.
They should really just copy soccer. Soccer actually has a lot.
I don't get the strategy there.
They have no idea what they're doing. They just know the stats we can't be adding too much to the stats because then people will get up. No one will care at this point. It's not, you've changed the game so much. You don't need to worry about the stats being different. It's like we didn't have the average game wasn't hitting 260 25 years ago. It's already ruined. It's already broken. So just add some fucking games to the regular season in the form of a play-in tournament. Bang, done. Oh no, some guys get 2 extra games. Who cares? No one cares. They just watch the sport and clips.
What about the colorful? What about the colorful courts on the NBA Cup? The bright red and the bright blue. Is that good enough for you for the reason why they have it?
I am fine with. I have no problem with. I mean, as long as you don't do something like the big mistake the Big 12 made, for their conference tournament this year, where you're making your court hard to look at, and you make me want to change
some of the courts were on the edge of like, I want to watch this game, but I'm having a seizure.
But of all the things going on in the NBA, I actually think the changing the vibe of the court for like to let you know it's a cup game. I'm fine, completely fine with that. Yeah,
they should get the guy that designed Coastal's field to just go ahead and design those courts.
I don't think
Boise State, like, get one of those guys to come in and make some alterations.
I like the different colors, but it doesn't need to be so busy. Like simple, clean, different colors would be my graphic design note.
I don't mind design, but like less is more. Quick aside on the teal field out in Coastal, older daughter randomly brought up the idea. We're talking about colleges, and she goes, "What do you know about Conway, South Carolina?" I go, "Absolutely not. Know a lot about the Chanticleers and their gross field. You don't need to be." No. My actual quote was, "You don't need to go across the country to go to a fucking party school."
Yeah, go to San Diego State. You can have a good time there. It's not as far.
Dallas, Sacramento, the Queens, as Shaq once called them, laying 5 points. Totals 216.5. Wait, so you're telling me Dallas has a chance?
Yeah.
After all the shenanigans they've pulled.
Yep.
I know that we should like condoning violence with fans on members of an organization is crazy, but it does seem like this Nico guy is in some sort of trouble.
Yeah,
he's just not showing up to work. He's laying low, working from home. You know, maybe got a little cold. I don't understand it. Again, I was it seems not only that, but the aftermath of now information we've learned has made it even worse for him.
No, nothing has come out where you go, oh, that's why they traded Luka.
It seems worse. It's like, if anything, it sounds like they didn't even think to ask for some extra pieces. And yet here they are in the play-in tournament, not the playoffs. Scott, no chance they go on some sort of miracle run here. A la a team in the NCAA play-in games, do they?
If Kyrie was playing, maybe, but he's not. So no, they got no chance to do anything in this actual postseason. The truth is, I think this is the worst game amongst all the play-in games because these teams aren't worth a damn. I mean, you're mentioning how the Mavericks and Nico Harrison basically blew up the entire team.
Yeah.
What did Sacramento do?
Yeah,
they traded away De'Aaron Fox and have just been messing around anyway. So both these teams aren't serious. They fired their coach. They ended up getting Christian, who's been kind of meh. I'll put it that way. It feels like I'm watching the same team as Mike Brown coaching the team.
Yeah, they had a new coach bump there for a second, and then that wore off, and now they're just this shitty ass Kings team. But again, the Mavs are kind of bums as well. What are you doing, Scott?
Yeah, so the question is, do I want to lay points with bums or take points with bums? Now, the Kings, I think, are the better roster if you want to go from top to bottom. It really comes down to Anthony Davis. Because if AD has himself a monster game, I mean like 30 and 15 with maybe like 3 or 4 blocks, if for one game he can turn the clock back for a second, I think Dallas can actually win. However, if AD plays even average, they might get smoked. So that's kind of the problem they run into. So you know what? I'll go for it. Give me Dallas. Let's be a bit weird here for this game. I know that the home teams tend to do well. I get it, but I can't stand both these teams. I really can't. They're both horrible. I think AD, when he's on, is the best player on the court amongst all these teams. So I think AD is going to play well for once, knock on wood. He might hit the ground a couple times. You might be worried that he's been injured maybe 5 times in the first half. But I think he'll get up and he'll keep playing. I'll go with Anthony Davis and the Mavericks to find a way. It's mostly not wanting to lay points with either of these circus teams. I was blindly going to take the points no matter who is favored in this game. I think that's the better approach. Give me plus money with one crappy team to be slightly less crappy than the other crappy team. I'll take the Mavericks.
Terrell, what are you doing? You co-signing Scott's Mavs play?
Oh, that's the part of the show where you just let Scott go on his rant and you just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show here.
Let Scott cook.
Yeah, let him cook all the way. I agree. I'm with the Mavericks here, plus the 5 points. I don't trust the Kings at all. And Anthony Davis, when he's been on this team and he's been on the floor, they look completely different and they look a lot better. And I don't want to throw out that this could be a really, really big Max Christie game, who is not related, but we could still have some type of Max Christie going off against Doug Christie in this Kings team. Shout out to Klay Thompson, who thought they were related and thought they were actually like father son, and then had to come back and say, "Oh wait, no, I learned that they're actually not related." So, yeah, I think it's the Mavericks here. I like the Mavericks, and I think the Mavericks have the length that could really, really mess with DeRozan and give DeRozan some uncomfortable shots on the inside. Really, really mess with Sabonis and not let him get anything easy on the inside as well with Lively and Gafford and AD. Like, that's a lot of size that Sabonis is giving up, and where he's normally dominant on the glass, he might not be this game because they might just go ahead and say, all right, box him out and let somebody else grab the rebound, and they try to control the glass like that. So yeah, I like Mavericks +5, sprinkle on the money line. I think they get it done.
I'm with you. I think they're a live dog. I mean, again, it's a small sample size, but in the games that AD has started for the Mavs, they are 6-3 straight up. And to me, it's just who is this Kings team to be laying 5 points against any team?
They know.
Well, maybe, but
they remember last year.
What happened last year?
Oh, in the same scenario.
Anthony Davis. What did he do?
No, the Kings at home won by a lot of points against the Warriors.
Oh yeah, but this is
play inexperience.
No, that Kings team last year, I think, was a much better team.
Play inexperience.
Look at.
If you want to talk about play inexperience, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine have play-in experience for the Bulls that lost multiple times to the Miami Heat.
They've lost a bunch.
There might be a little bit of stench over there in Sacramento now.
All right, give me Dallas.
For the record, AD was also in the play-in last year too. So
yeah, the Lakers were there. I mean, all right. Give me. I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to start disagreeing with Scott and Terrell here.
So when AD played, they beat the Hawks. They beat these guys Bulls in Chicago. They beat Orlando in Orlando.
I will say, not like this is probably one of those moments where they're rethinking, like, did we really need a 9 and a 10 seed in a play-in tournament?
Yeah, I mean, there's 16 teams in a conference. 10 don't have to be quote unquote in this play-in turn. I don't know, whatever. It does, I think, help reduce tanking at least a little bit. So
have the lottery tournament where it's for a shitload of money. Players play for money and the teams get the fucking draft pick.
Yeah.
Instead of just tanking and having a hilarious like 3/4 of a season where you're talking about next season. It's a protected pick. Cool.
Yeah. All right. Hey, quick shout out to Rhythm. Of course, Rhythm. It's the NBA playoffs. Get in over on Rhythm. Love using Rhythm. Of course, you're home for AI-backed picks and props. Rhythm has been great to us for the NBA season. MLB, they just launched their MLB product. I know Scott and Adam have been doing very well in the MLB prop show using some of the plays that Rhythm generates. You can use that promo code SGPN25, get you 20% off monthly. Use that SGPN 50 to get 50% off the annual. And let's see what some of the I've been messing around with some of the Rhythm models. I'll tell you.
Should I make a playoff model maybe?
Okay, I like that.
Get frisky.
Yeah, have a little fun with it.
I mean, I'm gonna be betting on. I do this every year. I come to grips with the fact that I will be betting on the NBA.
Yes,
it's gonna be on every night. It's just like the hockey. It's just in your face. Nothing else to do. Of course I'm betting.
I agree with this Rhythm play. They like the Rhythm model likes the Grizzlies Warriors over 229. So if you're like Kramer, you're an NBA casual, you just want to hop in with some data and some picks from a great program. Download the Rhythm app today. SGPN 25 for 20% off monthly, SGPN 50 for 50% off the annual. And of course, you get the free 7-day trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And of course, we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code SGPN. Get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. I'm seeing some sweet profit boosts as always.
Oh, geez, really?
Yeah, let's bring Scott and Terrell on here, guys. Do you have any angles, aka fantasy projections for the play-in tournament games? I do like the Trae Young higher 27.5 points because of the rest, but I'm open to suggestions. Scott, anything jumping out at you for these first couple playing games.
Yeah, you know what? I'll die on the AD hill on this one. I'll go with Anthony Davis. I know Terrell and I spent a lot of time over the years talking about how bad Sabonis is defensively. He might be the worst defensive center in the entire league.
Yo,
If AD is going to have a moment with the Mavericks, it's really the perfect matchup for him because Sabonis doesn't really have the athleticism to hang with AD. I think AD has a great game. I'll go with AD. Do I want the rebounds or just the points? Can I ask what the points and what the PR is before I get my decision on that?
Points are 25.5. Rebounds are 11.5.
Not offering a
just take
PR.
He better get 26 plus points against Sabonis.
Yeah,
I'll
take
take
the
the higher
points,
on
man.
the points.
All right.
I'm in.
Terrell, what's jumping out at you in these first couple playing games?
Okay, let's see here. What's Josh Giddey look like on the PRA?
Ooh, okay. He's been a triple double machine.
Josh Giddey is a really good play. I know that Buddy Hield shoots the ball pretty well, and they trust him enough. And I think that we're going to see some points there in Golden State. So I like a Buddy Hield points over as well.
So Josh Giddey, 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Buddy Hield, and you were talking about higher. I heard you say over there.
Yeah, higher.
Buddy Hield, his points is 8.5. And sorry, what? So any of those jumping out? Just Terrell?
Yeah. I like the Josh Giddey play. I really do. I like
the
Josh
PRA for
going
Giddey.
Higher. Yep, going higher on the PRA for Giddey. I think that's a good one. But if we want to go ahead and get something in the other day, so we don't have to not sweat anything on a Tuesday, I say we go with Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield has the trust, and they continue to give him a green light in the offense, especially in the non-Steph Curry minutes. So I think this will be a good opportunity for Buddy Hield. Or it should be at 8.5. I think you said so.
8.5.
Yeah. So a few threes gets us there.
I like it. So we'll go Buddy Hield higher, 8.5 points. Anthony Davis higher, 25.5 points. $100 entry with the profit boost that I'm seeing in my lobby.
I don't have it, so why are you rubbing it in my face?
It might be 3x, or it might be a lot higher,
or it might be nothing.
Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. Get in over there, have some fun. All right, let's see. Should we just save the series stuff for when we talk Friday? What do you want to do, Kramer? Because we got a couple of the series numbers up. We could break those down.
I mean, we can do that, but it sounds like no one thinks anything interesting might happen. So I'd be curious. Yeah, we can break it. You want to save it for Friday or do it now?
Yeah, why don't we save it for we'll talk Friday because because then we can do all of them together. That'll be a nice NBA truly
games on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can combine it with the rest. At that point, we would only not know the 1 seed, right?
Yeah, which we could figure it out from there.
Here's a hot take. Neither one of us are going to be on anybody coming out of the play-in tournament. In terms of the 8 seed. In terms of the 8 seed. Now we talk 7. And we might have a debate here.
But we'll know the 7 seed by then.
There's one team that might be worth a damn in the entire thing, and that's Golden State.
Yep.
There's one team that might be worth something. The other teams are useless. I mean, the Kings and Mavericks game is just a monumental waste of time in the grand scheme of things, but it's fun for jokes. If you want to laugh at Nico Harrison, if you want to laugh at the Kings for missing the playoff bracket, then sure, you got something on your hands here, but damn, that matchup means nothing in the grand scheme because both teams are really bad.
What I will say is, Mavericks to get into the playoffs, whatever that future price is, it's probably not bad because Memphis is really, really untrustworthy right now, guys.
No.
Oh, so basically, obviously, if Memphis loses, they play the Mavericks, and we already are kind of like the Mavericks as a live dog. I like where your head's at.
A nice little juicy price on Mavs to make the playoffs because I'm telling you, it doesn't matter who they play.
I got it right here.
I'm probably gonna take the points in the dog.
So what's the all right? So it's plus 820.
Yeah, sign me up for that.
So and what's their first game? Money line price.
They're a 5-point dog. So
166.
166.
Yeah.
And I said, what did I say? Plus 180.
What?
No, you said,
plus 850.
You said it was like 8-1. You said it was like 8
or something. Hold on. Plus 820. So we would need the next game would have to be like plus 250.
Yeah, I don't think if assuming. Well, now this is interesting because
would they be plus 250 in the next game?
I don't think so. If Memphis loses, they're not going to be a 7-point dog against Memphis, would they? What do you guys think they would hang that number at? That feels high.
I think it would be a very large number personally.
Okay.
I really think
plus
Dallas is
250
not that
sounds
great.
right.
I mean, Golden State would be favored by a lot more than that. So Golden State,
That's
you
true.
get a better number if you did a rollover parlay if you were doing the Warriors to play them instead. For Memphis, I think they're just a really bad matchup for Dallas. I understand that they've been kind of reeling lately and they fired their coach with like a couple games to go in the season. But when you're looking at all the options that Memphis has offensively with Morant, with Bane, with Triple J, they have centers including Edey and company. I know Edey might not be the greatest, but at least they have different large bodies they can throw at AD to make it difficult. Dallas has nothing. You're looking at like Najee Marshall and Anthony Davis and a bit of Dinwiddie. Like I know I'm picking them to once again beat a Kings team that also sucks, but I think Memphis is a really bad matchup for him personally. But then again, it's like 8-1, so I'm not going to stop you for taking an 8-1. I think Memphis would actually be a pretty large favorite in that game personally. I would put Memphis at like maybe 8 or 9. I think those 9-10 teams are really, really bad in the Western
Well, I
Conference.
guess it's just I am just so out on this Memphis team and their inability
to defend. They can't defend anything. I
just hate
you can't defend.
Yeah, I just hate Memphis, so maybe that's clouding my judgment on what the.
For reference, the Golden State, the Warriors are laying 7 the Grizzlies are plus 250. So if we get that kind of number, then you're to Scott's point. Either way, you're better off with a mechanical.
Okay, so
parlay.
it does sound like mechanical parlay probably
if you're going to do it.
The better way to go.
I just don't know how the Mavericks are 4.5-point dogs to the Kings.
Yeah,
and
you're
somehow
right.
the line's going to be less than 7 against Memphis. I just don't see that.
I'm factoring in my own opinion of like.
I think Memphis would have to be like 8.5, 9.5, something like that.
Yeah,
once again, they're dogs to the Kings.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned,
well, because and maybe you would, maybe the price would even be crazier. Obviously, if Golden State loses, they would probably be a double-digit favorite.
They would be.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Memphis play this Mavs team with nobody playing. And I mean nobody. It was a dead carcass they were dragging through that part of the season. And Memphis had to go on a run late in the game to push the 11-point line that they had. Dude, with AD, I'm so fading Memphis. Like I would break my fingers to take Memphis money line. So I actually think I'll take the plus 820 or do the mechanical parlay because
I think
I'm so out on
your option though. I mean, you said Memphis was laying 11 when they faced off the last time, but
that was with no AD, no Kyrie.
No, I get
this
that.
time around with AD, they're probably, like you said, it's probably gonna be 7.
The 4.5 dogs point like to the Kings. I have to imagine the Grizzlies are favored by like 9.5, 10 points in that game at home.
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's going to be some bad because they're going to get destroyed by the Warriors, so they're probably going to be a little bit of influx.
I'm not saying they're going to cover. I just think the line will be that high, around 9 or 10, if I had to price it myself.
Yeah, no, Scott's probably right there. If the market rating has them 5-point dogs in Sacramento, they're going to be decent sized.
Here's what's crazy: Memphis to make the playoffs is minus 430. Now we expect them to lose the first game, but they're not going to be minus 430. In the second game, they're going to be like minus 300.
Yeah,
or maybe they will be minus.
Probably,
actually,
minus
if that price indicates what the spread would be, then we're talking about a double-digit spread for sure.
Yeah,
my prediction is assuming Memphis ends up losing to Golden State and assuming Dallas wins or Sacramento wins. You're going to look at that spread immediately and go, that's a lot of points for a play-in game. That's my initial thought because I think that the odds makers know the Mavericks and the Kings are both really, really bad compared to the other teams. And Memphis, even though they've been struggling, they were a top 5 seed for most of the year. They still have a ton of talent. Dallas and the Kings basically indirectly blew up their entire roster, and they're still accidentally here. Like these teams aren't good. I think that you're going to look at the line and go, they're laying how many points in the play-in game? I think that's the initial response after the first play-in games unfold. So that's how I look at it.
All right. Yeah. So we'll save the series when we get more of them. We'll talk Friday, get that sorted. Cause I feel like we got a good lock and dog here just with the playing games. And we discussed a bunch of future stuff as well. Actually, is there a playoff price, a series price that you want to give out now that you want to lock up? Scott, maybe an early series tease. Maybe like the Bucks, the Pistons, the Clippers, any early stuff you want to lock in before we get to that later in the week.
Well, I gave it out on VSiN on your show, but I have 2 plays pending. I have the Hawks to miss the playoffs, which I gave out at like 3-1 or something, and now that price dropped. And I gave out the Nuggets to lose in the first round at like plus 160, and now they're basically in a pick 'em with the Clippers. So I think I'll go with the Clippers in that series against the Nuggets. I think even though Jamal Murray came back for about a game or so, and I know that Joker had some comments about how, basically saying, when you push somebody to the limit, you're going to see what happens. But I think at the end of the day, they beat a Rockets team that wasn't really trying. They beat a Grizzlies team that has been in bad form. They haven't really beaten anybody since they fired the coach. And you're looking at the Clippers being probably the hottest team in the league for the last month. Kawhi's healthy for once, for now. Harden's been playing well. Zubac's been playing well. Powell's been playing well. The supporting cast for Denver, I don't think is that good. And you could argue that it's why Joker should win MVP. Because this team somehow won 50 games. Like, this team, I don't think is very good. Porter Jr. has been a very, I'll say, volatile player, and a lot of fans are kind of up and down with him. Murray's never healthy. I don't know how healthy he is right now. He missed a bunch of weeks. You have Westbrook playing some minutes, which is never easy if you're a fan of the team. I don't like their overall roster. I think the Clippers are just a much better overall team. Now, if Joker goes crazy and averages a 37-point triple-double and they find a way to win, I'll live with it. But I see more paths to victory for the Clippers in that series. I'll go with the Clippers to win. I think it's a pretty affordable number.
Yeah, I'm still pissed. Whatever. When was it? Was it like 2 years ago? Clippers got them at a great plus money. They win the first couple games, and then they go to Phoenix. Kawhi gets injured, and then they lose 4 in a row. That's my only. And you're going against Joker, but I totally agree with all of Scott's points there. Terrell, any early series prices you want to give out now?
Yeah, he gave out one LA team. I'll give out the other. Lakers laying 1.5 games plus 120.
I thought we were saving that for the Friday show.
No. A little early action doesn't hurt.
A little early action. And I mean, I don't think first of all, you have teams that find themselves randomly in the conference finals and then come back the next year and look completely like crap because they probably weren't supposed to be in the conference finals last year. I think that's a little bit of Minnesota here. And I really, really, really am just fading them in the fourth quarter of games. I actually think that this will be a competitive series for the first 3 quarters. But when they get into the fourth quarter, Chris Finch makes some horrible decisions in terms of coaching his team. He doesn't put Anthony Edwards in good situations with the basketball where teams are now doubling him, swarming him, and he's forcing up shots when they probably should have a better game plan to get him some open looks in the fourth quarter. Whereas on the other side of the ball, we have Luka Doncic and LeBron James in the fourth quarter. Yeah, very simple. I think this is actually going to be competitive. And then in the fourth quarter, the Lakers are going to win a lot more of those games than the Timberwolves are going to. So I think they cover 1.5 games easily.
Kramer's getting flashbacks to playoff Julius Randle as he's talking about the Timberwolves at the moment.
I mean, here's the way
I like how Scott knows I'm a Knicks fan too, but he doesn't direct any of the jokes towards me because he knows it's not.
I roast you on the podcast every day. I don't see them that often.
That's why. That's why they subscribe to the NBA Gambling podcast.
He knows I'm a diehard, and it's just going to hit harder. I would simply just add that the Lakers seem like of the 4 favorites to make the conference finals. The Lakers seem like the team that's going to fuck it up. There's a lot of. I used to a massive LeBron simp at times. I like Luka. I wouldn't say I was ever ride or die with Luka, but there's something about this team that just seems like they've done something. They've sold their soul. They've made a deal, and it's gonna crash down horribly.
Oh, they 100% did. When you trade a top 3 defensive player and then you're randomly the number 1 defense for like a good portion of the second half of the season, definitely some soul selling there.
So and also, so I would be hesitant to do that. I also had I made some notes from last year's NBA playoffs, and one of my notes was don't play stupid series spread bets.
Well, I'm with Terrell. I like the Lakers to win 4-2 at least.
Really?
One. Come on. The league desperately. Luka and LeBron. That's like half the league's ratings. They're not going to let them go out. 2. Minnesota quietly doesn't have a home court advantage. Look at look at the T-Wolves number ATS at home and their straight up record. For as good as they're supposed to be, it's really not there. I don't think they've quite figured out the team yet. Now, yes, Ant is awesome. He will have like 1 or 2 games where he goes off and hits a ton of threes and it doesn't matter. But
that's
also,
why I would be worried.
Well, let's go back to the Western Conference Finals. They had no answer for Luka in the Western Conference Finals, and I think Luka has a chip on his shoulder.
Sean, these are 3
huge. He might be trying to eat that chip because apparently he's got a weight problem that's so bad they got to ship him out of town. No, he's going to be fired up. They might crash and burn, but I don't think it's going to be in the first round.
This is like 3 of the top 6 Jersey guys.
Yeah, they're going to advance. They're going to win. 4-2.
Yeah, they need 7 games here though, Sean.
No,
they need 7 games.
Not in the first
series.
series.
No.
No.
This is Kramer, like
I'll just put you down for the Knicks minus 460 on the money line.
What is that?
Well, you want the.
What is that?
You want a nice easy winner. I'll put you down Knicks to win the series.
Oh, I got a winner.
Okay, what's your early series play?
Well, I'm with Scott on the Clippers.
Oh, okay. Clip City.
The only negative thing people are saying about the Clippers is that like the boogeyman's going to get them. Like that's literally the handicap against the Clippers. Everything's going wrong for the Nuggets. Everything's going right.
Awesome.
Everything's going wrong for the Nuggets. Yeah. Everything's going right for the Clippers. And people are like, oh yeah, but because they remember what happens when Kawhi gets a little boo-boo, that's it. That's over. But right now, you got to bet on it, right? It seems like this Denver team is doomed. I love Joker too, but it seems like again vibes.
Well, they fired Mike Malone with 3 games left.
It seems like Mike Malone was a huge asshole.
Yeah, but a lot of good coaches are dicks.
That's true.
You guys know the story of like the team dynamic with the team not feeling good about the special treatment that Russell Westbrook was getting?
Oh no!
Tell me about this. I knew Russell Westbrook was involved as far as like why people were pissed, and then I heard the head coach wasn't talking to the general manager.
He's like a Trojan horse.
But to be fair, indirectly involved. But Malone loved to use Westbrook more than the other guys, and apparently to rub some of the players the wrong way. That's basically what.
And he probably got some favorable treatment outside of things as well.
Keep explaining this.
Like sands through the hourglass. So are the days of our.
Explain the drama, Terrell.
So Russell Westbrook, guy who is a Hall of Famer, top 75 NBA player, is being treated as such, and members of the Denver Nuggets are now worried that they might lose their shine. Worry about this and others next on the Days of Our League.
Well, he doesn't get tired. I mean, that's not Westbrook's fault.
He had some good chemistry with Joker. They had some moments. I don't know. It's a super weird story to fire a coach when you're when you were you're the 4 seed. Like, I would just let it play out till the end of the season and then deal with it. Weird, I guess, to fire him.
Westbrook was 5'8" when he entered high school.
Damn, hell of a growth spurt.
My God.
All right, Scott, let's close it out with a lock and a dog. What do you got for the audience?
So just to be clear, you want the lock to be on one of the games, or you want it to be a series, or what do you want?
Yeah, why don't we'll go playing?
All right, so for the playing games, for the lock here, a part of me really wants to back Anthony Davis. A part of me really wants to do it. Grizzly. I mean, I thought about the Warriors team total over, but they have some injuries, so maybe I'm a little bit scared off. But Memphis really can't guard anybody. I'll do it. Give me Anthony Davis over on his points at 25.5.
Ooh,
it really is. It's such a good matchup for him. Sabonis is such a horrible defensive player. And you're looking at the lack of rim protection the Kings have. I know AD might settle a lot for jump shots, which can annoy some people, but I'm hoping in a 1-game situation here with a bunch of time off, or I should say a couple days off, because they didn't play in the last game of the season either. AD at least can stay healthy for 1 game. My fingers are crossed on it. I'm hoping for it, but I do think he can drop at least 26 points. I mean, AD has to play, assuming full health here, 38 plus minutes. This team's horrible. Like, AD has to play a lot. So give me Anthony Davis over on his 25.5 points. I'll dare Sabonis to stop anybody defensively. I think AD has a good game.
What's a dog? What's a dog you got for the audience here, Scott?
Yeah, so for my dog, I might actually just go back to it, but I actually like your play. I'll go with Trae Young over on his points with the Magic money line. I'll do that too, big part.
Ooh, okay. Trae over points with Orlando money line.
That is sharp.
I mean, I just
wasn't
feel
my
honored.
idea. I just stole that from.
I'm
Sean.
just honored that Scott's tailing me.
Well, a
lot of pressure.
What? At least, I was gonna make fun of you, but I censored myself.
Terrell, do you got a lock and a dog for the audience?
Lock. Jimmy Butler 20+ points and Golden State win the game. -110. I don't think
Butler
they have an
20
option.
points and Golden State money line.
Yep, I don't think they have an option to stop him. And this is playoff Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy, love it. I think that he's going to go out there. He can get the 20. Golden State gets the win at the very least. For the dog, this was a little bit more challenging. Josh Giddey. Yeah, let's go with. All right, Josh Giddey PRA. We're going to take it up to 45.5 here.
Woo.
Oh,
Plus 295. Really, really juicy here. But if we're penciling him in for the triple-double, then I think that he gets a little bit more here with the scoring. We talk about how bad that Miami can be at times defensively. And this could be a game where, hey, Chicago says we're going to run up the score, and this is a fast-paced game, and we see a whole bunch of scoring, which wouldn't be good for the play-in unders. But I think that this is one of the aspects where Josh Giddey can have a pretty good game here. So give me Josh Giddey, 45+ PRA.
Love it. A nice lock and dog for me. I'm keeping it simple. Give me Golden State laying the 7 at home. Golden State off a loss. Memphis can't play any defense. They get right. We'll see what happens when they get into the real playoff where they could hit a wall. And then the Mavs. See, Sacramento shouldn't be favored. Give me the Mavs on the money line. I like the Davis points, but I think they win outright. Let's go. Mavs plus 166 on the money line. Kramer, what are you doing?
Well, for my dog, we're going to take the Scott lock Davis over 25.5 points. We're going to pair it with your dog.
Ooh, Mavs money line.
So yeah, to make a bigger price than
flex.
yours, make sure I have a big dog.
Flex.
Extra big dog. And for my lock, Golden State and Orlando money lines put together.
Look at you.
Come at me.
Golden's the Warriors.
And if you want to get spicy, you can add the Bulls into that.
I didn't know you were running a tout service over there, Kramer. I didn't know you had that going for you.
Yeah. This is right before he announces his dub club.
Well play of the playoffs.
Yeah. We were watching Sean's appearance on Dr. Phil earlier for the Patreon episode.
One of the gentlemen,
there was a now Dub Club guy on there with Sean. So
it's a super fun rewatch.
It's a great time to monetize my my leans and my plays and locks.
Make sure you check out Scott and Terrell over on the NBA Gambling Podcast, and right around the corner, if you're looking for some extra summer action, the WNBA Gambling Podcast, and also check out Terrell on the Fast Break Podcast, right, Terrell?
Fast Break Bets.
Fast Break Bets. Fast Break Bets. And follow these guys on X as well. And we'll be talking later in the week, talking more NBA. We got some more draft props. We'll squeeze in some UFL, the VSiN show. So much content to get to.
Quick note from the DMs. Yes. As you know, Sean, I curate some of the best DMs that filter through. This was a 1 week ago. Quote, "You got to get those fuckers back on the WNBA gambling podcast feed."
Well, there you go.
So this is
seems like use of fuckers is
I'll keep the
term of love.
Yeah, I don't think this person was trying to say you two fucked each other, but that you're both fuckers, and he wants his WNBA content. The funny thing is,
Jonesing.
I'm not going to disclose who this is because he might want to keep that private. But 100% of what he sent me is just pictures of like things getting fucked up.
Okay.
And then
WNBA.
And he wants his WNBA content.
Well, so WNBA fans, all shapes and sizes.
And he joined X all the way back in 2009. So
wow,
this is
old school.
I've said too much.
Did you ever think after the pandemic when I brought the idea to you that this would be the reaction when the season is coming up?
No, there's a lot of Caitlin Clark and just in general WNBA. I mean, the fact that ESPN's all in on the tournament, I feel like has helped it. So
it's amazing what gambling can do for fan interest. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I also think like strangely the WNBA is one of those things people are like. It goes from like being like I forget which conference it was, but we were at a conference with Terrell, and he might as well been a blonde chick with double D tits at the bar.
The WNBA
because he had WNBA winners.
Yeah,
and like people are bringing him around. Like look at this amazingly hot girlfriend I have here with his WNBA winners.
Look at those sweet WNBA cans.
Fun story. And this is multiple times that this has happened actually, but every time that I go to, what is that? Where is it that we're always at? It's the expo, the expo.
Yes, the
Bob
Fantasy
Lang,
Expo?
the guy that runs the expo. Every time I run into him, he's like, "Hey, what do you have? You're on the WNBA right now." And every single time I give him an answer, it sweeps. Everything hits, and I'm like, "Oh man!" And he DMs me like, "Dude, they hit again. What's the next play? What's the next play?" Like, so wait for the summertime to come, and Bob makes the annual. Hey, what's the WNBA plays as I make a return to the finish?
Yeah, the strong overlay in the Venn diagram of WNBA fans and fantasy football players larger than you might expect. Larger than you might expect.
Love some WNBA.
That's one way to put it.
NBA. Check out these gentlemen on both those podcasts, Sports Gambling Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, as always,
thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
Sean, great job.
Kramer, let it ride.